wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody know the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep forking it out the root. Make country flowers in there, fork it up. Make country produce in there, fork it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country. Riding on me donkey, transportation bliss. Me fireside bubbling a goodie. I hear rioting in the gas crisis. Surrounded by wild animals. What a vicious pack. But none of them does launch an attack. None of them poison us like invert and sap. The hunt always on, I could say that much. And true, can switch it off like crime watch. My mission now is to put a stop to whosoever fucking me country up. Some say a man named Eric, George, Robbie and Patrick. Some say Capildeo, Fadis, Kamla Basteo. Old man Bedu said they said nothing new. They fucking up long before 1962. If Butler was around, he might have tell we directly who fucking up me country.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. As always, I am genuinely pleased that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to join me this evening as we look at some of the issues in and around St. Kitts, particularly of a political nature. If you're listening in St. Kitts and Nevis, I welcome you. If you are listening in from the diaspora, I bid you a very special welcome. I've always been grateful for your listening audience, and this evening is no different. I appreciate you tuning in. I want to start off this evening by expressing my sincerest condolences to the family of Jeb Simon. Now, Jeb Simon is a Green Valley original. He's from Keon, or at the very least, I know him from Keon. And he was unfortunately killed recently in a collision with a motorbike. It's a sad event. Jeb, I'm told, was 85 years old, and I knew him in Keon over the river area. I knew him as the father of one of my childhood buddies, Elvis. I call him Punchin, right? I know Elvis now resides in Nevis, and so I want to extend my sincerest condolences to Elvis over there in Nevis. I know some of his stepchildren. Jeb had moved to Bastille. and got married to a wonderful lady, and they lived for a very long time right next door to the Public Works at Manchester Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the street. And you would always see him on the balcony, he and his lovely wife, shooting the breeze. And so when this unfortunate situation hit, it did in fact hit hard, not just in his household, but also in the Keon area. A couple of things that I want to say here. I saw a video with the deceased on the turf in the roundabout, and I would just like to say, based on that I think that it is time for an update on the training of our EMTs. And I think that training ought to be ongoing. It ought to be continual. I remember when we started the program back in the day, the initial group of EMTs had the benefit of training from a group of professionals that came down from Dalhousie. I think if that program has been discontinued, something like that, if not the same thing, ought to be restarted. Because you have to continually upgrade the quality and caliber of the staff in these kinds of fields. It is important. All right? I got to tell you, even with my little combat training, I would have done at least one thing differently if I had encountered a situation like that. But I mean, like I said, I think that the team needs to update their training. I personally believe that we ought to make sure that their training be no less than that of the paramedics that you find in the United States. And we ought to devise a program to get them trained up to that level. Whether we are going to send one at a time, right, and bring them back home, we have to do something to make sure, because these are your first responders. And a lot of times you can't do what you don't know. You cannot perform what you didn't learn. And so it's one thing for us to start to blame them, right? But we ought to at the same time say, you know what? We need to invest in their learning. We need to update their learning in the field of EMS. All right? And so I just wanted to say that. I think also that we need to enforce the traffic laws as they relate to reckless riders, motorcycle riders. I mean, everywhere you look, these guys are proper wheeling, and it looks good. You know, it's heart-throbbing, but instances like this could happen. And I'm only saying that because I've heard that the youngsters were popping a wheelie. I don't know. I'm just saying that that's what I heard. If that is the case, and if it's not the case, I apologize. But if that be the case, then, you know, we have to be a little bit less reckless, or else we could have situation like this happening, and no one would come out the winner. We also got to make sure that all the traffic lights are working properly, so that people are not going to get caught on the crosswalk. I don't know that is the case, but I'm just saying that is something that we also have to make sure that we pay attention to. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to extend condolences to the family. Like I said, some of these individuals are persons I know, particularly Elvis. We grew up just a couple of houses from each other in Morris Lane in Keon. And so my heart goes out to the family. And I know a lot of the friends and persons who knew the family and knew Jeb find themselves grieving at this point in time. All right? So I'll take a break, and then I'll come back and we'll discuss the issues for the evening.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Keon Street.
Ready or not, you're my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local. Check me area code, me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me first.
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, you're my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep plucking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, pop it up. Make country producing it, pop it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. And right about now, I want to talk about an issue that I had been mouthing off on for a while. I saw the headline in the media on October 17, and it says, Minister Hamilton lays 2018 financial statement report on Social Security in National Assembly. And I commend him for that. I think that's the good and proper thing to do. But I also want to remind him that this is the end of 2020, and so we should be in short order seeing the 2019 reports. But I commend him for that. He's just become the Minister for Social Security, and I think it's the right thing to lay the accounts in Parliament. Recently, I've been working on some materials for training and as part of my self-development as I do consultancy work. And two things I've been working on is one, conducting situation analyses, and the other one being facilitating strategic planning. And I'm fascinated by this whole notion of spotting trends, trend spotting. Because if you are in organizations and you're in leadership, one of the things you have to do is you have to be paying attention to the data, and you have to be looking out for certain trends. As it relates to Social Security, the actuarial scientist does the trend spotting and forecasting for the Social Security. And so if you look in the actuarial report, you'll see certain trends articulated there, right? And you would recall that since after the election, I have been talking about Social Security, and before election as well, and what scares me about it. And lo and behold, today I read an article in Antigua, or written in Antigua, where the Social Security is finding it difficult to pay its pensioners. Some 1,700 pensioners, I'm told, have not gotten their pension on time. And it is blamed on the situation at the Social Security in Antigua. Their contributions taken a hit because a lot of the people that contribute to the Social Security in Antigua are employed in the tourism industry, and that industry has taken a beating. In St. Kitts, a lot of the people that contribute to Social Security are employed by government, whether in STEP, in the statutory corporations, or in the central government or civil service, right? I think somewhere close to 10,000 persons in St. Kitts are employed in some way by the government, and as such, they contribute to the Social Security. And I think that at this point in time in particular, it's probably close to 50% of the contributions going into Social Security. So for as long as the government can find the money to pay its employees, and for as long as the government doesn't downsize, then monies are going to be going into the Social Security as contribution. And so that is important. That is important. But remember, I had been telling you all along that the actuarial report had indicated certain trends, had forecasted certain trends, and it had suggested that very soon, by 2023, the surplus that the Social Security had been enjoying every year would be wiped out. And by 2023, we would be facing a deficit situation if the government doesn't do certain things. All right? Government hasn't done certain things. In fact, I think the government has been more reckless in the last couple of months as it relates to Social Security than it should have been and could have been. That's my personal take. But I want us to look at what I'm saying. Because you see, sometimes you think I just the talk, And it's true, sometimes I just the talk, But there are times when I am dead serious. And when it comes to Social Security, I am dead serious. I'm dead serious for personal reasons. Because my retirement depends on the Social Security being viable and able to pay me what it says it would pay me. You understand? And so I'm also doing it for you because a lot of you are in the same situation as I am. You understand? And so I want you to pay attention because you need to hold their feet to the fire. Vex with me if you want. I didn't vote how you vote. You vex with me for that. But I am going to make sure that you understand what the possibilities are and why the Social Security has to be strategic in its approach going forward. So let me look at some of what Eugene talked about, or he highlighted. Eugene highlighted the fact that contributions for 2018 were estimated to be 97. No, he didn't do that. Sorry, back up. The actuarial scientists, if you go to the actuarial report, it estimated that in 2018, contribution would total $97.5 million. Right? Contribution income would be $97.5 million. Hamilton reported that it was in fact $95.6 million instead. And so it means that you came in below what the estimation was. The estimation was that it would be $97.5 million. In 2018, you took in $94.6 million. No, I'm lying. $95.6 million. $95.6 million. But in 2017, you took in $94.7 million. All right? So, as it turns out, you are below what the estimates were. All right? Now, in 2017, there was a $59.1 million surplus at the Social Security. Why? Because the contribution income was $94.7 million. You invested a lot of money, 1 point something billion dollars, and from that you got $48.7 million in investment income. You got about $15 million in other income, for a total of $158.4 million in income. The total cash inflow in 2017 was $158.4 million. But then you paid out in benefits and pension $83.7 million. Your administrative costs, your administrative expenses in 2017 were $14.2 million. You had what you call losses or loss provision of $1.4 million. The total cash outflow in 2017 was $99.3 million. When you take $99.3 million from $158.4 million, you got a surplus of $59.1 million. Now, you say, hip hip hooray, that sounds good. And that was good. But follow this. In 2018, instead of getting a contribution income of 97.5 million, you got 95.6. All right? 95.6. Now, I don't know. Yes, I do know. He did say what that was. He did say what the investment income was, if I'm not mistaken. He did say that. He said what the investment income was. Let me see if I see that. Contribution. Oh, he said investment income went from 49 million to 42 million in 2018. 42 million in 2018. And then he also said that the total income was 139 million. Total income in 2018 was 139 million. The forecast was that it would be $142.4 million. So that didn't happen. That didn't happen. No, I don't know, because Eugene did not say what the total cash outflows were. He didn't say that. All right? But here's what I'm saying. If the total cash outflow remained at the 2017 level, right? The 2017 cash outflow was 99.3. If it remained at that level, if you take away 99.3 from 139 point a little, right? It means you're going to have about a $40 million surplus in 2018. I know we're going to know the figures soon because the figures are now public. But tonight I don't know them. right? So I'm just making some assumptions. But we know, and we could assume safely, that the cash outflow for 2018 was more than the $99.3 million of 2017. And if, in fact, the cash outflow is the same as was forecasted in the actual report, then it would be about $109.3 million in 2018. Like I said, we're going to get the real figures soon. And when I get them, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk to you about it again. And so it means, therefore, that if that be the case, 109 from 139 equals 30 million. So it is saying then that if the cash outflow were this as were forecast, $109 million, right? In 2018, then the surplus would be $30 million. What is that showing you? That is showing you that in 2017, the surplus was 59 million, right? Now, if you only spend the same amount of money that you spent in 2017, right, then it means that your surplus would be about 40 million. But if you spent $109 million as was forecasted, then your surplus would be about $30 million. I should tell you that in 2015, Social Security actually spent $111 million. The cash outflow was $111 million. So I don't want you to say that they can't spend $109 million, because they, on a previous occasion in 2015, it spent $111 million. But if now it spent $109 million, we know what the income was. Income was 139. You take 109 from 139, right? You get $30 million. But what I'm trying to show you is this. If, in fact, the surplus in 2018 was $30 million, that is $29 million less than it was the year before. I wonder if you all understand what I'm saying. It means that it was $29 million than the year before. But you know what the guy forecasted? He forecasted that it would be $33.1 million of surplus. 33.1 ain't that far from $30 million. And so in any case, you're talking about your surplus being down by somewhere between 26 and $29 million. And it could even be worse than that. You see that drop in surplus? You know why I'm showing you that trend? Because when the actuarial scientists extrapolated the finances of the Social Security over time, It found that in 2023, that's 3 years from now, the surplus would disappear and would now become a deficit of 3.2 million. That's 3 years from now. And then when he extrapolated further, he found that by 2027, the deficit would be 51.5 million. And then by 2037, the deficit would be $236 million. And he also says that by that time, the $1.6 billion in reserve that the Social Security has would be wiped out. You understand what I'm saying? Because remember, from the time you start going into deficits must be paid for. And so to pay for the deficit, you're going to have to go into your reserve and start to cover the deficit. And so as you cover the deficit every year, and as the deficit grows every year, it means that the money you had in reserve starts to disappear year after year until you get to a point when you ain't got no reserve. And so when you hear me say, watch Social Security, I know what I'm talking about. Because you don't start to see the adverse trends that were forecasted by the actuarian, right? You don't start to see the trend happening. And this is 2018 accounts we're talking about, and you see the trends happening so accurately. The trends starting to happen so accurately. And so what is happening is that by 2023, all this surplus would be wiped out. In fact, I am willing to argue that by this year, 2020, the surplus has been wiped out already. I'm willing to argue that. Now they're going to blame it on COVID. But COVID would only be to blame partly because the number of contributors to the income base would have dropped because of the layoffs. But it would be in part because instead of government taking money out of its central government coffers, it has decided to go into the Social Security to find money to deal with the aftermath or the ongoing effects of COVID-19. Something I disagree with. Because you see, Social Security doesn't have the same abilities to raise revenue. Government got all kind of tools in its arsenal to raise revenue. Social Security can only depend on the income from its investment and the income from contributions. And so I am keen to make sure that the Social Security remains viable. And a lot of guys say, oh, it ain't gonna happen. Watch Antigua. Antigua is already in trouble. We are en route to a destination called trouble. And excuse me, but I don't have confidence in the leadership of the Social Security. Excuse me. So I want you all to pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. The finances of the Social Security are headed in the wrong direction. and it's headed there like a bat out of hell. Pay attention. Speak up. Speak out. Me one supposed to talk. First of all, tell them to bring their accounts up to date. Tell them to bring their accounts up to date. Right? And ask them if the actuarial scientist hasn't already done his work, ask them to get him in to do the work. And if he has done his work, let them publish the updated work so that we can see what's happening. You see? I don't lie, you know. Just because they buy all your votes, no mean they're going to look out for all your interests, you know. In fact, it's the other way around. It's because they bought your vote, they think they could do you anything they want. But me want me social security, you know. Maybe I don't want you alone. Me want mine. You understand? And I know a lot of people who want theirs. And so we got to keep an eye on this particular situation. On that note, and because me throat dry, I'm going to pause here and then we're going to come back and chit-chat some more.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume, just smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Deon Street.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local. Check me area code. Direct me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
and have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, you're my girl.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, park it up. Make country producing it, park it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. So the Prime Minister says that the government is moving into a cost containment, efficiency and efficacy mode. In short, the government is getting ready to cut. People, supplies, material, equipment, government is getting ready to cut. That is what that means. You understand? By his own admission, government pays more than 9,000 people. And when he talk about having a $218 million payroll up to September, that is only for the 5,000 plus civil servants and government auxiliary workers, you know. That's salary and wages for them. That doesn't include STEP. STEP is different money. That's another set of money. You understand? And so things are going to change. Now you hear them say that they are regularizing the STEP workers and making them government auxiliary workers, government auxiliary employees. So you are going to be adding maybe another $50 million a year to your salary and wage bills. All right? But let me tell you something, you know. When you do that, make sure that it's sustainable, you know. Or if it's not sustainable, make sure it's at least sustainable until election. Because to have to cut people who you just told you made them permanent is probably the worst thing a government can do. Now, when you do that, though, when you regularize your workers, what's going to happen over in Nevis? Because I am thinking that you have to decouple Nevis. Nevis would be on its own. That would be an additional burden for Nevis, because how many step workers does Nevis have? I'm sure it's more than 300. So now you're either going to ask Nevis to send home a couple people, right? Or you're going to ask them to take that burden. And you're not going to send any money over to Nevis to cover that. And so, whereas Nevis was getting these guys paid from a fund which had some ties to the citizenship by investment funds, now if you decouple them and if you are regularizing them, making them government employees, and Nevis is forced to do the same, and Nevis isn't going to get the corresponding amount of money from the CBI to cover those workers, then Nevis is on its own for the next couple of years, carrying more than 300 additional workers that it really can't carry. You understand? And so, in all the planning, I'm here in St. Kitts, I'm seeing people from St. Kitts, but I'm not here in Nevis, and I'm not seeing anybody from Nevis. I'm working on the regularization of the step workers over in Nevis. That could be a problem. That could be a problem. In saying it's the government has already admitted that some of its statutory corporations have approached them about carrying some of their burdens. I know we talked about port last week and government undertaking to pay some, if not all, of its employee salaries and wages. And so times are getting quite interesting. Now, somebody sent me a piece, and I cannot authenticate it, but it was about Dubai and how Dubai is finding it difficult to survive in this COVID-19 environment. Dubai has lost maybe more than 50% of its businesses. Visitors are not coming. Dubai is a visitor dependent country. Tourism is a big thing in Dubai. Oil is not as big a deal in Dubai as people coming in to Dubai. And you're hearing talk that Dubai is under great stress. I know that the citizenship by investment program is kind of grounded in Dubai. And so if that be the case, and if passports are not selling the way we think they should or could, St. Kitts would be in for a lot of trouble. Right? St. Kitts would be in for a lot of trouble. Because if we don't get more than $200 million a year in passport sales revenue, if we don't get that, St. Kitts up a creek without a wazzle. St. Kitts would be in trouble. And so, watch what's happening. Watch what's happening, because that is going to be an interesting kind of situation. It's going to get jiggy in a quick turn. Now, somebody called me and said, "Boy, but St. Kitts," I said, "St. Kitts gonna be in trouble." I said, "Well, right now they should have some money that Douglas left them. Douglas left $637 million in reserves, in the central government reserve, and I don't know how much in the CBI, whatever they had, but I'm saying that they should have some time." They say, "Boy, I believe they don't spend half that." I say, "Lord, man, they can't spend that there so quick." What do you mean? They put that in the pocket? They can't spend that so quick. So I have to think that at least government has some time that it could buy. It ain't disaster time yet. But I know if that passport money ain't coming in, then whatever reserve we had, no matter where we had it gonna be used up quickly. But then again, Douglas also left a situation where we had the fiscal space to borrow, right? And so government has some time. The problem government has is that it has not come up with any creative means to earn income. And so what's going to happen in January is that you're going to end up having to pay a lot more fees, a lot more taxes, because that's the only thing government knows about thing. And just like how the public service and the people who are paid by government are the ones who are keeping Social Security afloat because they are the majority of contributors to Social Security, government is looking at you and saying, "I'm paying you X amount of salary every month, and so you are going to be targeted for taxes in the new year," right? They're going to take out some big chunk taxes, add a few other fees, because the government is a vicious cycle now. The government has to earn a lot of money to pay a lot of people and take a lot more taxes from them. You understand? So look out for that. That is what is going to happen in the next couple. Now, when you hear the government say it move into a pay for performance kind of scheme. They devised that because they see that as a means of stopping the double salary. So they're not going to be able to pay the double salary. They want to introduce a pay for performance scheme. But that paper for that paper for what am I saying? That pay for performance, right, is going to be more problem than solution. That's going to be all kind of problem. I waiting to hear and see what they come up with, because you got a lot of people who don't understand organizations and how organizations work. Want to think that they're going to just come and implement something just like that. I know it's government, and whatever government say you got to take, right? But people ain't going to always be dormant, you know. People ain't always going to be silent. People ain't going to take no knockbout, because I know that pay for performance system, right? That sound easier said than done. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to take a pause now, and when we come back, we're going to close it out.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. Real perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Deon Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local. Check me area code. Me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
and have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, you're my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit sit down naked, the seeds might grow. They're delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle, and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One is you, I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in there, park it up. Make country produce in there, park it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Rebuttal. Let us close out by just going through a couple of highlighted issues. We're not going to dwell on any. I'm just going to raise the issues, ask a question, maybe make a point or two, and then move on. A sixth person has been arrested with respect to the Police Cooperative Credit Union case. Unfortunately, that individual, I also know, coming out of K-On, I don't understand why these guys get themselves caught up in anything like this. Angela, but I could understand. All right? But some of these other guys, well, somebody tell me that they could understand Web 2. But some of these other persons, I don't understand why is it they allow themselves to get caught up in these shenanigans. But that case will proceed. We'll let justice take its course, and then we'll see what happens at the other end. Police indicated that the police high command indicated that they have not received any case of sexual harassment in its ranks by any of the ladies in its ranks. But let me ask you a question. You have a mechanism for them to file such harassment cases? So that doesn't mean that it isn't true. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. We know that it has happened, and we know that benefits, rewards, promotions have previously been handed out to persons who have offered sexual favors to high ranks in the police force. So don't tell me that you ain't get no complaints. You ain't got a mechanism. You don't have a machinery in place for persons to make any such complaints without repercussions. So you ain't said thing, right? And I don't really care where the thing come from, the news come from. We know that that's an issue in the police force. Female police officers are usually taken advantage of. Whether you think they want to or not is not the point. My point is you should create policies to prevent them from being exploited by senior ranks. I noticed that Mabel catching his tail. I also noticed that you all seem to be implying that a certain high-ranking policeman is the personification of Mabel. Don't be misled. Mabel wasn't one person. A lot of people were contributing, and it was filed on the Mabel and published on the Mabel, posted on Facebook on the Mabel. But it's more than one. It's a couple of them. Some of them carry the same last name. Some of them, I know who they be. But that one there, it looked like there's a falling out on the inside. And so all I'm saying, if all you fall out, please start to talk. Say what you know. You understand? It's important. It is important. One of the things I really want to know is what happened to the investigation with regards to the threats made against the judge under this Mabel character? That is something I want to know, because that cannot go unpunished. It ought not go unpunished, because if that goes unpunished, a whole bunch of people should just start to use fake profile to do likewise. And that cannot be acceptable in society, in a civilized society. So I want to know what's happening with that investigation. I wonder if it's because they're getting close. The different Mabel them start to go on a kind of how. Because nobody wants to take the blame and nobody wants to get locked up. All right. Burglaries, I understand, are on the increase. I understand that a couple of Ross University students might have been robbed recently. Now, I would like to hear an update on this matter from the police high command. Is it true that burglaries are on the on the uptick, and that a lot of the Ross universities, the university students, are the ones targeted? Another week gone by, and people still waiting for the severance. People waiting and nothing happening, right? Now, Four Seasons just added another 200 to 300 laid off persons to the rolls. These are people who are going to be requesting severance pay soon. So how much longer they going to have to wait? Like I keep telling you, the longer they wait and the longer they have no income, the deeper they go into a hole. So that by the time you give them the severance ain't amount to a thing, because they got to dig themselves out of a hole. Right? All the family they done borrow from, all the friends they done borrow from, they got problems. They got to pay it back right away. Contrary to what government is saying, money has been previously in the severance fund. It's never been enough, but money has always been there. And it has always been the responsibility of government to replenish the fund when it run out. I saw something there the other day. I think it's Big Lies put it up on Facebook about Sanders not having his contract renewed by the government. I heard that. I had heard that before. I just never said nothing, because you see Sanders and Hammy are good pal, And so it seems to me that if another ministry has decided not to rehire Sanders, it seems to me that Hamilton should have taken up that slack. Hamilton should have taken up that slack and given Sanders a job, because not all the jobs them in government has to go through the same procedure. They're not all gonna go through the same procedure, and so in some instances, the minister and the PS got some power in determining who gets a job. And it seems to me that that's one of the things Hamilton could and should do to help out his buddy. Unless what I am thinking is true. Unless Sanders may have said something at some point in time against Hamilton, and he got back to Hamilton, because that's how Hamilton be, He keep things long, Anything he hear, you say, he keep it in the car, and he wait for an opportunity to get back at you. So maybe that's what he doing. He probably getting back at Sanders for something he heard Sanders said or something Sanders do. Right? So Keon still ain't got no water, eh? Or you still can't wash off as frequently as you want over there, eh? Watch a thing. And I understand the minister has still not come to speak to you all, to let you all know a timetable with respect to how soon they can fix the problem, how they're going to remedy the problem. Oh, by the way, whatever happened to the disciplinary tribunal slated to hear the matter regarding Jonell and Lindsay? I haven't heard anything about that lately. Don't tell me that somebody trying to get these boys off. Easy. If you hear something, let me know. I'll be grateful. And finally, I want to say congrats to Dr. Joel Clark for an exceptional presentation in the Parliament last week. I hope that she continues to be as cogent, as logical, as clear as she was in her maiden presentation. Also, I hope that the government's new law, that piece of legislation, I hope that will be challenged in the courts. I have a sneaky feeling that it won't stand. Somebody sent me a note there of a schedule of flights coming into St. Kitts for November on American Airlines. Well, who out? Stay out. I out. I staying out. On that note, I want to say good evening to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we will chit-chat again next week. You all take care now. Good night.
Song about the crime and the permissiveness in the society. Hey, you give me TV, you give me cable, you also give me pornography, you give me drugs, you give me guns. You also give me a modern telephonic connection. Plus you bloody well know where there are progressive tendencies, there are rises in criminal activity. There are rises in criminal activity. Helicopter over the area. What are you calling for? Why is it as soon as the crime done, the police hurry come? What are you calling for? You see, nobody concentrates on preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the very roots of the problem. What are you calling for? For what are you for? I saw more working here tonight. Yes, man. Hey! Hey! You educate me in school. You inflicted that golden rule. You made sure I didn't become a fool. You gave me ideas. You gave me hope. You gave me reasons to regard you as a role model. I followed your leadership. I followed your example. But now the both of us end up in trouble. Helicopter over the entire area. What are you calling for? Why is it as soon as the explosion, the police hurry come? What are you calling for? Nobody concentrates on the preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the very root of the problem. What? All you in here falling for all you are born. I wouldn't fall. I just don't want to be critical without offering a couple of solutions. Start anti-drug classes, build rehabilitation centers, and cable ought to be careful round the turn. And the police should manifest a true symbol of honest impartiality. And the same police ought to share more information with the press and the rest of the community. For in the final analysis, it's we, the same people, they're coming for help with the investigative inquiry. Are you balling for all you are born? Thank you. We want it back right down away. One more time, blah blah. All right. Thank you. Hey! You educate me in school. You inflicted that golden rule. You made sure the black did not become a fool. I followed your leadership. I followed your example. I made sure I regarded you as a role model. You gave me hope, you gave ideas, you also gave me reasons to regard you as a role model. And now, today, look, they know both of us end up in trouble. Scotland Yard, all over Sadler's area. Bradshaw, what? You ballin' far. Why is it as soon as the crime done, them police hurry come? What? Are you ballin' far? You see, nobody concentrates on preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the roots of the problem.